So,
but the GTR is a heavy enough car anyway, so if you do strip weight out of it and you put the cage in, it's still relatively quite hefty. So, and also some of that would be the lump in front of you, so it's a great engine to be proper V6 in front of it as it is, but it's still a heavy engine. It's going to be front heavy. The four-wheel drive system is going to be adding more weight on top of that as well. So yes, you can strip the weight out, but at the same time, it's still going to be one of the heftier cars in the field in any class.
Yeah, for sure. So, and obviously a huge amount of power. So that car definitely favours the power track. I would say Knockhill is, it's much more, it's much tighter. It's a shorter range. And Volvo is still the fastest car out there at the moment. And their cars, they are heavy. They do have the amount of weight they have weight at the handle. But yeah, I would say almost 1,000 horsepower. There might be a bit of hindrance here.
Possibly, well,
exactly.
And it's great in terms of, it's not how you have it, you use it. That's why this, for example, is Samsung, which is a Stu Summers, was 179. It's all about you want to be use their power better, if not more. So it works out in their favour in that sense, and that's why some cars, like the smaller cars, do tend to do a little better than you'd expect, because they do on the tight twisty circuits, because they're smaller, they're lighter, they're nimbler, and they can use what they've got to much more effect. And they've got a lot of you can't get them down the tarmac, the tyres and cement are still there, and that was always a lot there.
Neil Robson there.
Yeah, he's something else that's. It is propeller.
Yeah,
I don't want to he's probably going to a bit less cool because it's trying to put more power in the engine or something he's doing anyway. But that's the thing when you're trying to push on is, as everyone's touching on this, particular circuit, like you just said, they just take you just put a little too much over the curb, too much over a bump, hit a bump just at the wrong angle, and it can just make the car go pretty unpredictable. And that's the key thing with this one. You want the car to be fast, but as the GTR there goes fully up on two wheels again, you want the car to be fast, but also to feel predictable at the same time. You can get both at the same time. That's the sweet spot when it comes to car setup and the build in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, what happened with the last like it was almost around the corner and then kind of like run wide a bit. So I wonder if that might be indicative of some technical issues you might be having.
It could be maybe that. I said he's quite a character, isn't he, in terms of how he drives it, and in general he's Alexander, and he's definitely driving it, what's the phrase, like he stole it, so definitely he's making the most of it. He is his first set of the entire session, 16.9, that's indicative of how quick he really is pushing. He's just behind Johnny Fletcher in the Vauxhall Astra, but he's had to decide to back out because headlights are off. Rule is, remember for those on news time attack, if you're on a fast lap, you must have your headlights on before another car, otherwise if not, you're going to get more than a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, and this is the whole thing with time attack. We do have all of these cars out on track at the same time, so part of the game is figuring out when do you go for your hot lap, and you make so you're going to hit the corners at a point when there's nobody kind of like going around there. So also drivers will be very much looking out for people who are on the hot lap and making way for them. But again, sometimes, we have some events where there's like 25 cars on track, and you can have quite a lot of traffic out there. So yeah, finding that opportune moment is really kind of like. So obviously, if a driver can't make like a particular round, or if they have some kind of like catastrophic failure, so yeah, we don't have a David Dyson here today. John Fletcher is second. And then obviously you've got Capel, who was out this morning and had that fire on the out and Anaheim, who is fourth currently, and it'll be interesting to see what the kind of shakes out. At the moment, out of the top four comes in the drive, Johnny Fletcher is the first one who is still out on track bagging points today.
Yeah, that's the key thing. So, and I've said this before, particularly racing aspects, it's like so if you can't win, get as many points as you can. Get a second, get a third, get a fourth. Yeah, everyone wants to win. Also, if you rate any restaurant that says, I want to do it, take second, third place, and line. Everyone wants to win, but if you can't win, maximise the result. get a second, get a third place, nick the fastest lap and get an extra point if it's a race or anything else. Get as many points as you can, because you never know what might happen in the next race. Guys heading in the championship might not turn up and actually lose points. They might retire and have an issue. He might lose points. So anything can happen, and it ain't over until they say the championship's fine. So just keep going.
Get out there for every session.
Change of mind. This is encouraging you to think before. Correct me if I'm wrong. The only session that had points was Super Attacker, so therefore there was no massive incentive there. And I think besides right there, switching headlights off and banning. He hasn't too like that most times. If you get around quickly, then we might have time for one more if you can manage it with a minute and a half to go.
But he doesn't need to, right? He's got a second advantage over Andy Grady there at the moment.
That's true.
Just looking around to see who's actually around on track.
We've still got Neil Robson, we still have our second PTR of Susan Dobrovolsky. He's just coasting his way up the hill now. So
and we still have Johnny Fletcher out on track as well.
We do indeed. So,
well, a few more actually.
Yeah, I think we'll get speaking about this. He said that they said don't think about the mountains. Where the radio towers are behind us, where the comms got on, they said don't think about mountains. Like, that's not mountains, stuff in the distance, that's mountains, that's just it. Neil Robson, who is not being as not being a standpoint, just twitches the tail out of Jim Knockhill on the curve, back through the left-hander of Hislops and down to the base of the a couple of places, because if you look at where he is in the points, he's currently sat in 8th points at the moment. No, 9th points at the moment, with 47 coming into the weekend. He'll have scored points in the tackle earlier on, scored points again, and actually he'll get a couple more points. Then he'll try to get a good result, try and get himself in the can of podium in Club 2 will drive later on. He's got a real possibility to, at least in total score, potentially 4 places here, just by keeping himself on the road, doing what he said, just getting fixed as well as. But if he's doing that,
maybe not if he's
he might not last the rest of the session. But I think what he can be thankful of, the checkered flag is now out. The session is over for Club 2 wheel drive and Club 4 wheel drive. See there that Volkov is back